and welcome to National Focus. I'm Malia Martin. In today's National Focus, GIS takes a closer look at Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt's bi-weekly press conference, which took place on Monday, March 27. The press conference featured Minister for the Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment, Honorable Cozier Frederick. Among the headline stories, new initiatives to be established for persons with disabilities. A multi-purpose emergency shelter is one of the major projects for the Salibia constituency, and the GCF EDA project has been deemed a success thus far. The details of the headline stories and more when we return.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. Just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spiced tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you go out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand. That's what I think. We're all connected. It's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Welcome back. The government of Dominica is working towards developing new initiatives geared at making the lives of persons with disabilities easier. These initiatives will seek to ensure that families of persons with disabilities can help them live comfortable and happy lives. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt says that every citizen should champion the needs of this vulnerable group of people.
What we really need in the society is not allowing those of us who may have children with these challenges to be the champions only. I think the whole society must become the champions for these children, and I think we lack in that advocacy on the part of the wider population, on ensuring that we carve out a special place and special consideration, not in terms of segregating them from society, but recognizing that they need particular help and particular interventions and particular support that those of us otherwise do not require.
One of the goals of the Minister with responsibility for persons with disabilities is to improve assistance from government.
This is one of the mandates to the new Minister for Social Services and People with Disability is for us to look at this group in the society and to examine what we're doing as a society and as a government for them, and where we're falling short if we are falling short, and what we need to do to provide for them. Because we're prepared to redirect resources to ensure that these these children among us, these special children, are shown the love and the care and attention that they deserve and they need. And so it's something that we will be looking at. But it's important for us to, as a whole society, to be advocates, you know, for these people.
The education of citizens on how to deal with children with disabilities is also a priority for government.
It's a huge challenge. You know, I know of parents who can't go to work because they have to be caring for the children. You know, and some of the parents do not have the knowledge and the skill to deal with different temperaments and different behaviors and so forth. And so we really have to go through a whole process of not only educating and providing information to the parents, but all of us in society. So that when we interact with children with different abilities, we're able to interact with them in a manner in which we should interact with them.
One of the initiatives named by the Prime Minister is the establishment of a special fund which will provide support for families in caring for children with disabilities.
Some things have been done for them, but I think we need to have a special dispensation, as we've done for the elderly, for these children. We try to mainstream it because we don't want any one of them to feel, you know, there's some segregation on something. So a lot of our programs are mainstream, but I still believe that we need to carve out a special dispensation for these children and ensuring that they have what they need to live comfortable, respectable lives, you know, among us in society. So it's something we're looking at.
The people of the Salibia constituency are positioned to benefit from a new multi-purpose regional emergency shelter. This project aims to build resilience and adaptive capacity to climate change and disaster risk in the Kalinago territory. Government has partnered with the Canadian government and the Caribbean Development Bank to see the fruition of this project. Minister for the Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment, and the parliamentary representative for the Salibia constituency, Honorable Kozia Frederick, is passionate about building resilience in the Kalinago space. He says the project is one of two significant projects in his constituency.
We are treating people at the hamlet level, the community level, to be able to manage and maintain that facility once it's built. And so we're building capacity at the Kalinago Council, empowering local governance and encouraging local development. And so we have a commitment for the CDB through the Canadian government over $2.1 million in that project. But also to note that government is also making a significant contribution. It appears to me that every other day it increases. And so we are moving from over $600,000 from the government's end to almost maybe $1 million in the coming weeks. And so we will have this project, which is a wonderful collaboration with an indigenous Caribbean agency, the CDB, but also with the government.
When completed, the project will serve as an emergency shelter and host various community activities, ensuring full respect for the identity, dignity, human rights, and cultural uniqueness of the Kalinago people. During the 2022 to 2023 national budget, Prime Minister Skerrit announced that designs have been completed for this project, and the tender process is expected to commence in the first quarter of the new fiscal year, which would be July to September of 2023. The multi-purpose emergency shelter will be built in Bataka to provide a safe haven for over 150 persons in the event of any disaster. The Green Climate Fund Enhancing Direct Access GCF EDA project has been deemed a success in its implementation in June 2020. The GCF EDA project aims to build on community resilience to climate impacts through its various components. Thus far, the project has contributed to the public sector investment program. Minister Frederick reported that a number of non-governmental organizations, NGOs, have seen the benefits of the EDA project.
We do have at the ministry a project we call very simply the EDA. It's an Enhanced Direct Access project, with the GCF and the GEF. And we've been able to use that project to assist the government service through the PSIP, but also to look at targeting NGOs. And so working through the GEF, which is the Small Projects Grant, we have been able to assist the Atkinson Disaster Committee with a project cost of more than $300,000. The Giordel Eccleston Consumer Cooperative Society Limited, we're looking at an excess of another $300,000. Monroe Development Committee, more than $600,000. The Salisbury First Baptist Church, we're talking about $527,000. And the Southeast Community Response Project, and also the St. Peter's Fishery Cooperative. So we've been working with agencies to ensure that they have access to finance, to build their resiliencies.
Earlier this month, the Government Housing Loans Board signed a partnership agreement with the Ministry of Environment as a service provider for Component 4 of the EDA project, which is a revolving loan fund, RLF.
So this project has moved beyond the remit of the government system, but also working with a massive project like the Global Climate Fund. And I really want to thank the leadership at various levels of the project, even starting from our present CABSEC back in the day when she was the permanent secretary, to see that project come through.
The RLF is fueled by the pilot GCF EDA project, which aims to maximize climate financing to vulnerable populations. The RLF offers loans up to 200,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars at a highly concessional rate of 2% to individuals in the public sector for climate adaptations in homes and small businesses. Minister Frederick encourages public officers to make use of the loan opportunity. Dominica is well on its way to becoming the desirable destination. Over the past few months, Dominica has received accolades from a number of publications, positioning the island as one of the best destinations to visit. Times Magazine featured the island as one of the greatest for 2023, being the only Caribbean country to make the list, while CNN noted that Dominica was among 25 most beautiful places in the world. Though the accolades recognize Dominica as a premium travel destination, Prime Minister Skerrit believes more can be done to transition Dominica into a global brand. In this regard, government has engaged Mr. William Griffith to assist Dominica with the transformation of the next phase of tourism.
We want to strengthen our tourism authority into a more strategic entity to lead market diversification and penetration and place the sector on a sustained growth trajectory. To this end, the Government of Dominica has engaged the services of William Griffith, the Managing Director of WCG Consulting, which offers specialist services in strategic management and marketing and sales for the tourism and hotel industry. We have engaged Mr. Griffith to assist and direct us in navigating through the next phase of our tourism transformation.
Prime Minister Skerrit believes Mr. Griffith will contribute meaningful change to the tourism industry. One of Mr. Griffith's tasks is to examine the business model of the Discover Dominica Authority, DDA, with an aim to reinforce its efficiency.
Mr. Griffith's scope of work, in the first instance, is to examine and recommend solutions for building tourism awareness locally, explore training opportunities and the possibility of establishing a hospitality institute, and examine the current business model of the Discover Dominica Authority with a view to strengthening capacity and effectiveness. He will also look to identify and court new airline partners with the objective of securing additional airlift opportunities and assess the status of the current cruise industry to increase its economic impact through improvement of product offerings and a further sensitization of our people on the importance of customer service.
Prime Minister Skerrit expects to receive a realistic strategic growth plan for the next 5 years.
In short, he will assist us in several areas to accelerate meaningful change and achieve success within the tourism industry. With a new outlook on Dominica's tourism, we can build on the gains we are experiencing and bring even greater awareness to our island as a tourism destination of choice in the Caribbean. My expectation is that in the next 12 months, I will receive a realistic and aggressive strategic growth plan for the next 5 years.
William Griffith is a skilled professional with over 20 years of executive management experience at the highest levels of hotel and tourism management. Government is committed to marketing Dominica as a destination of choice as they continue to invest in the tourism industry. The Kalinago Development Fund, or KDF, is one of the biggest interventions in the history of the Kalinago territory. The government of Dominica launched the $860,000 Kalinago Development Fund in March 2022 with the aim of improving the social and economic circumstance of the Kalinago people. The fund also aims to increase access to credit for the Kalinago people, an obstacle that has hindered their development for years.
It's a fund that is established to ensure that the First Nations of our country have an equal opportunity to access monies, to build their own enterprises, and to build their own resilience and to develop their own capital. And so the government has invested a significant amount of money in that project. We see sectors ranging from agriculture, housing, industry, education, and consumer services. And we expect in the coming budget cycle to have an increased allocation of monies. So we do have folks across the board. There are more than 20 folks who already access that funds, and they have accessed significant amount of money to make investments.
The Honorable Minister encourages residents in the Kalinago territory to take advantage of the opportunity to invest and make strides in their own development. The Kalinago Development Fund is a culmination of several years of intense work, which started from 2005 in the Office of the Prime Minister, when it was referred to as the Kalinago Development Corporation.
I really want to thank the Prime Minister for his leadership on that, but also to thank my forebearers on whose shoulders I stand, Kelly Grano, Ashton Grano, Cassius Daru, who started the project, and I could actually have it come to fruition at this time.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return. Welcome back. The Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment has partnered with the International Agency United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, UNCCD, on the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management, PISLM, project. Minister Frederick attended the 5th High-Level Forum on Regional Sustainable Management in Port of Spain, Trinidad, organized by PISLM on March 23, 2023. He says Dominica has been used as the model to implement this project.
We have a project called the PISLM, which is the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management. And I so happen to be the chair of the high-level forum at the ministerial level in the OECS. And it's coming out of a meeting in Trinidad, and we have been able to use Dominica's best practices to enforce that project. And so in the coming months, we will see more than 12 countries across the region joining this project.
The forum addressed issues related to soil management, land degradation, countering degradation, and implementing sustainable land use in the Caribbean region. Currently, PISLM is working to finalize access to approximately US $90 million for the implementation of sustainable land management projects across the region. As an outcome of that forum, 12 Caribbean countries are expected to embark on this project. Minister Frederick listed the accomplishments of the sustainable land management projects thus far in Dominica.
So we've been able to look at developing more than 200 hectares of lands across the country, and to use proper what we call SLM approaches, sustainable land management practices, to restore free watershed areas across the region. We have developed more than 5 plans for 5 different parishes across the country, so we can better manage our resources. There are a number of things. We have created manuals for the extension officers. We have trained extension officers. We have plots where farmers can demonstrate what they have learned and pass on the knowledge to others. We have looked at managing the watershed areas in Batali, in Kulibistri, and La Plaine. And also we have been able to work with the NYC, National Youth Council, to train, as we speak, more than 500 youth in sustainable land management practices.
Minister Frederick intends on using his influence as chairman for the PISLM High-Level Forum to do more within the region. A number of areas are being developed to include the Forestry, Wildlife and Parks Division, the rehabilitation of the Waiti-Kubuli National Trail, and government's National Employment Program, the NEP. Minister Frederick says the NEP is a very important intervention which is also often misunderstood.
We have various components in the NEP. We have people engaged in the public sector across departments of government. There are folks engaged at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. There are folks who are full-time interns in private institutions across the country. There are also some institutions who are assisting, and so we have a 50-50% partnership where we pay half of the salaries and the institution pays the other half. We do have a number of folks at schools across the Dominican space. We have folks within the constituency offices, and we also have the most famous one that normally we ascribe to NEP, which is the cleanup and beautification aspect of it. So in total, we have a little above the public service numbers. We have 4,352 people engaged in the NEP system across the board.
The National Employment Program is not only providing much needed employment for Dominica's youth, but through the implementation of the program, government is investing heavily in the private sector.
Just this year, we have spent over $29 million in the NEP, so which is a significant amount of money. And I'll tell you folks, this is all indigenous funds, local monies that we're able to raise to do that. And an important part I would like to highlight here is the significant amount of money we spend within the private sector. Yes, so the small shop owners, the barber shops, we do have people engaged at the guest houses. And in that sector, we spend on average monthly over $600,000. That means the government is investing that amount of money in the private sector.
Under this program, special consideration is given to supporting small enterprises.
We do, as a government, support wholesomely small enterprises. And I also want to encourage and highlight the fact that the small business agencies must also continue to work with us to engage that they could rope in and bring in on a permanent basis the folks who are engaged within the NEP. And so we have a significant amount of workers, and on a monthly basis we do spend about $5.8 million on a monthly basis to ensure that the smooth running of the NEP occurs, and to remind the listening public that the NEP is not just the beautification part of the project, but it goes across the board into government services and also private sector.
Prime Minister Skerrit is of the view that legislation should be developed and passed to govern the return of retired citizens who served in regional and international agencies. The legislation will regulate duties and custom fees required to be paid by the returning citizen.
I believe that the Parliament may need to expressly pass legislation to deal with individuals like justices of the courts, head of a regional international organization, that if these people are Dominican, they were recruited from Dominica, in their return to Dominica, that all of those things that they're bringing in should be brought in with no hindrance by way of custom duties and taxes and so forth, because people have made contributions to the region. They left Dominica and worked overseas. But at the end of the day, we're a country of rules and laws. And if a law does not allow the customs to facilitate something, the custom cannot go and facilitate it. Because every one of us under this cover of the country, our actions are determined by the Constitution or laws passed by Parliament.
Prime Minister Skerrit believes that legislation of that nature will reduce difficulty and limit chances of misunderstanding.
My view is that the Parliament may want to give consideration to having a separate piece of legislation, notwithstanding what the Supreme Court mandate is, or obligations are. I think if somebody serves as a head of CARICOM or head of PAHO and you're coming back, I feel you should drive your vehicle off the port with no difficulty. We're looking at maybe going to Parliament and to have a special piece of legislation to deal with that, so that we don't have misunderstanding with the state and persons who come in and so forth.
Dominica's Child Support Maintenance Bill is ready to be taken to Parliament. Prime Minister Skerrit says although there are laws in place to aid with the strengthening of Dominica's legislations, parents must play their part.
The one regards to the maintenance bill, it's ready. It has gone through all the processes of consultation. It's a matter now for us to go to Parliament to have it passed and to put a better mechanism in place for the payment of those child support bills. Really and truly, society should not be legislating these things. I believe that in this instance, majority men, we have to stand and take responsibility for our children, and not subject the parents to having to go to magistrate court and to receive $200 every month, and when it goes there, it's not there, and then but you're down by the shop drinking kubuli and BB and grapefruit, pink grapefruit juice, and your child can't go to school. I mean, we can't. This cannot be right. We have to address this issue.
Prime Minister Skerrit believes that as a nation, there has to be individual responsibility.
It is, in large measure too, it is because in this society, we do not speak about individual responsibility. We do not speak about individual responsibility. There are times there's collective responsibility, a group, but there has to be individual responsibility. We can't keep blaming one person in the country for everything that goes wrong in the country.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am Aliyah Martin. Thanks for watching and stay safe.